Hey, and welcome to a new edition of Standard Spike. Today I have for you Birthing Pod, a version created by Matt Nass. And I've only played Birthing Pod a little bit, but I'm going to give it a run in a daily event in preparation for the World Cup qualifier and a PTQ this weekend. Um, so I'm pretty much playing Matt's exact list. I want to make some changes afterwards. Um, so basically, the deck functions very similar to Red Green Aggro, except that instead of Sword, you have Birthing Pod, which is generally a lot more powerful when you have the other targets to search for, obviously. So, all this red green cards over here, mostly. And then our targets. Phantasmal Image, pretty obvious one, just very powerful for a 2-drop that you can sack a 1-drop to get. Aether Adept gives us a little extra time if we need that 3-drop to do that, just to give us an extra turn to maybe get a 4-drop. But I'm not exactly sold on that because it does basically the same thing Deceiver Exarch does. I suppose it's a little different, but basically in the early turns of the game, you want to go from 2 to 4 as fast as you can. And Adept does that, but so does Exarch, and Exarch I think does it better. Then there's Priest of Urabrask, which is also similar to those, but it's a little different. You can draw it and cast it, and then play Birthing Pod, and then possibly sack the Priest, so that's not that bad. Or you can just use it, search for it with Pod and act as a Dark Ritual, or a Bright Ritual rather. So you can cast Inferno Titan or Conscripts or whatever. But the thing about that is usually you're not going to have those cards in your hand, and that's why I think it's going to be a less likely tutor target. So that's another thing on my list to possibly get the axe. Metamorph, just another clone in the 4-drop slot though. And then Conscripts. Conscripts acts as another Exarch, but as a 5-drop, and it's just an amazing card. There's one in the sideboard as well. Possibly want to add more, but I have these active regressions right now. Just an amazing card. Inferno Titan is our top end. It's definitely the best thing we can be doing as our 6-drop. Primeval Titan is another option though, because you can Green Sun Zenith for it mostly. But the way I see it, you can just Zenith for Silverheart and it's better. You don't have to play Wolf Run or Inkmoth Nexus, so your mana is actually reasonable. One card that's not in here that I kind of like to have in Pod is Viridian Emissary, and that's mostly just because it's not in Matt's list. I kind of would like to have one over a Stranglergeist, but it's pretty unlikely that I'm actually tutoring for that. Maybe off a Zenith in the right matchup, but I'm probably going to get Image or Geist every other time with a Pod. So just going to stick with 4 Geists. Those are pretty good too. They're probably better than Emissary is. Despite the fact that you could just go attack, Pod, sack it, get a guy attack, you can just Pod it twice, and that's usually going to be better than a land. So for the sideboard, we have a mishmash of different things that we can search for. Each are good in different matchups. It's a few of the oddballs. Let's go over. This is obviously for poison. This one really shines against mono green, but I'm not really sure if it's that great. Like, it just gets against red green. It just gets burned. I think maybe. I guess it just stalls for a bit, but it is good with tracker, so that's something. Thrun, good against Delver. I'm not a big fan of it because it gets imaged, and everybody always brings an image. But we got one. Tree just for random mono red decks, I guess, or Boros. Spider, I'm a big fan of Spider, especially now with Restoration Angel. But it just kills Angel, Sphinx, Delver, and it's huge. So it's a really good 5-drop to have on the board. Scab Ruinator, it's kind of a mystery to me. I'm sure I'll board it in against something. It's not good against Vapor Snag, that's a big one. I guess it's okay against Doomblade decks. Crushing Vines, it's one of my cards that I convinced Matt to add instead of Naturalize. Just more answers to flying creatures. And he also said Sword of Feast of Famine was pretty big against this deck, so want to have some instant speed artifact removal. And that's my favorite one. Dungeon Geist, just a good 4-drop. Not sure what I'm going to board that in against, to be fair. Frost Titan, another 6-drop, acts as a Dungeon Geist. Again, I'm a little confused about that. These don't really serve any specific purpose, in my opinion. They're just in there. Possibly room for improvement. So that's the deck. And I know Matt Nass is playing this weekend. I might not, but I'll consider it. So let's go ahead and get on with round 1.